they start to pair with the Senna in the Dragon Link, because the Galio's already gone. Does this mean that we get to see potentially the return of Senna Nasus, or maybe something else?
Senna Galio is gone, like you mentioned. Senna Gragas is gone, so yes, like you mentioned, this is going to mean very limited options for MBR's Baron lanes. I'm quite curious to see how this one plays out, but I do want to point out the shoe is on the other foot now, right? They banned away the Varus and they forced the Senna pick on the side of MBR. I think this preparation from Team Secret is so good. You remove the Varus, you force them to take the Senna, something which they're less comfortable with, and you snatch away the Galio first pick. Olaf is still available as a counter pick, and I think it can do very well here into this Nunu Gragas combo. I would like to see that get picked up by MBR as the last pick, but Team Secret overall, very good draft prep. They came in here and choked MBR out in the draft.
Look at this, Ezreal coming in though. And of course, good that we highlighted the Nunu and Willem earlier, because we are going to be seeing the tandem over into this first game of this series. Rafa, what are your thoughts on Ezreal though? Do you get a lot of Ezreal in NA?
We sometimes do, and usually we're not necessarily fans of Ezreal, and it's not because of the pick itself, but most of our marksmen are much more accommodated and skilled on things like the Varus and the Kaisa. For Ezreal can potentially have like the highest damage ceiling out of any marksman, but it relies you to hit all your skill shots, right? And so if you're not hitting above 75% of your mystic shots, you're going to get out damaged by every other marksman in the game. So it really just comes down to how well those the mystic shots are being aligned. I do want to point out that the Pantheon was locked in as a jungle option, and that provides some early aggressive power plays that can happen as an avenue for MBR. And we talk back to what Omo highlighted about this Indonesian team, is that while their team play lacks during the mid and late game, their early aggression lanes, especially in the solo laners, are what makes this team come alive. And so this Pantheon, you get a point-and-click stun ability that really highlights and facilitates the solo laners to pick up those kills and snowball in the early game.
Yeah, and something I want to point out as well is I do like what MBR are going for. You don't have the Varus, right? But your substitution is, instead of playing Senna plus Funnel and playing Senna which doesn't farm but as a marksman position, you're playing Senna with Corki. So that's gonna be pretty much guaranteed bot lane prio anytime you want it. When they swap to the mid lane, they should almost always get prio as well, because you're playing double range. It's just the nature of how it plays out, and I think that suits how MBR want to play. They need to get prio to allow their solo laners to excel on side lanes, and I think that they've managed to achieve that with the draft here.
Well, we're gonna see how this first game goes down between Team Secret from the Philippine region and MBR Esports from the Indonesian region. Casters, over to you guys.
Thanks a bunch, Mika. We're going into our second BO5 at the upper bracket. It's Team Secret versus MBR Esports, and I got the cool kid with me. I got TJ joining me in this broadcast, and he's already wowed by Team Secret, doing their homework, making sure they understand their opponents, and look at this draft to start things off.
I'm ice cold, baby. I don't know why I'm cool, Grandin. I didn't know what to do with that. I'm sorry. Yeah, I like this Team Secret draft. I think that one of the things we were talking about as we kind of looked through that draft phase, and your king will be fine. One of the things we were talking about as we looked through that draft phase is, wow, NBR are really lightweight. They have a lot of stuff like this Orianna, like this Senna, like this Corki. It's going to take a little bit longer to come online. So how do you punish that? Well, you have to hit them during the opening phase when they don't have any tanks, and Team Secret have the tools to do that. You're looking at what this bottom lane with the Ezreal can do in particular. Case in point.
This is it. This is the early game you're talking about. Look at the aggression. Tobo dropped down low to start things up, and Radiance goes into the mid lane. But it's Tatsuri on Riven and not Azar.
Which is something we called out as a possibility. I know a couple of days ago we were talking about Tatsuri kind of being one of the big carries of this team at this tournament. And Azar, who was previously one of the biggest players in the entire Philippines region, one of the best players in the PPGL, has really been underperforming by contrast. So the flex here to give him the Akali, to give him the hard carry, and to put Tatsuri on the Riven in mid is interesting. It shows a certain degree of faith in him, I think.
Well, absolutely, and it's paying off well. Radiance expands both summoners, has to recall early on. relieves some of the pressure for Team Secret. Look at where they are. 4-man roll to the bot side so
Wow.
early on with the body snap to get the collapse onto 2. Looking to take down Ayalua first, and they will be able to find it eventually, but it's the center that goes down beforehand with the snowball, collecting that second.
And that's exactly what Team Secret needed to do. Show up early, take MBR down a peg, and if they can do that 1-2 more times, this Orianna, this Senna are not going to come online. Now, here's the possible answer. Here's the way back for MBR. It's through this boy on your screen right now. Alves on the Pantheon needs to show up and dominate as soon as he hits level 5. He'll have the tools to do that. The ground allowing him to enter any lane and make it a 2-on-1, but it's going to be hard.
Well, 3-man collapse in the top end, but Team Secret respond early. James making sure that Azar's going to be safe.
And that's such a good call on the map. Team Secret sees that there's pressure in towards their jungle. They know they don't see anything up top.
And we're rolling down to the bottom side. Toba gonna fall as the absolute zero facing off the full charge up against the Orianna. MBR backs against the wall, and it's only 2.5 minutes in.
And Team Secret are running this map. They see the play opportunity up top. They take advantage of it. They then go, okay, well, we have just seen their entire team setting up for a gank opportunity in the top lane. And Trebor takes advantage of the information, shows up in the bottom lane, and finds himself a free couple of kills.
And being able to consistently punish MBR Esports has been such an amazing trait from Team Secret. Game 1 was starting to see the power of the Nunu. We were wondering where it was going to be. Rafa brought this point up earlier on. And honestly, looking just about as good as we were hoping for. And so Treble is going to come ahead 3-0 to start this game off now. It's also going to be incredibly powerful as it secures these neutral objectives. Like we see in 30 seconds, Dragon and Rift Herald will be spawning.
And as we get towards these Rift Herald fights, Grandin, pay attention to the MBR team fight, because they don't have any tank. They have 0 frontline. It is just the Renekton. It is just the Pantheon. The Renekton's going to be very hard to wield at this point because he's not been able to get anything done in lane, and this Pantheon's going to be very squishy outside of his shield. So it's really hard for MBR to win a front-to-back team fight right now.
We'll see if Team Secret actually want to take that early on. Tatsuri is going to face off against Ayalua. The Dawning Shadow comes across to make sure the Orianna is safe, but look at that. Commits a Summoner's Battle flash in from Tatsuri anyway. Now over the Rift Tower, they're playing that front-to-back team fight like you mentioned. There's no pure tech. It's the perfect execution into the back. Azar has taken down the first. The kill is given the Chewy, and they've taken down Elvis. They've taken down another. And Radiance, he might come with the Valkyrie, but he's getting taken out by Team Secret.
And Azar shows up, the faith in him is rewarded, and the team play pays off, as MBR have to fight a front-to-back team fight with a Renekton who's made out of paper mache, and just hope that that's enough to tank for the damage, but the damage isn't here yet either, Grandin. You're trying to build a front-to-back team fight, well, your Renekton might be able to tank for a hot second, but you're in the backlines looking at Tobu, wondering, okay, what is all this tanking for? Because Tobu doesn't do any damage yet.
And it's kind of unfortunate to see that Renekton Onion King has picked up the Blade of the Rune King because he recognizes he needs to have that split push pressure, especially against Tatsuri and against Azar. But because of that, like you mentioned, he's so squishy, he isn't able to soak up any damage. Team Secret offloading so much. It's painful to watch here, honestly, TJ.
And a lot of it comes from the individual lane play that we've been talking up. But I also want to go back to the roam that we saw, where Team Secret are just running the map, forcing MBR to play reactively and out-reading their rotations immediately afterwards. And it happens again just now when we saw that split play, the 2 different setups for the Rift Herald and the bottom lane gank. I'm going to hold this thought because Tatsuri's really going for it, but I think we're good. Tatsuri is in the jungle right now as he was a moment ago. When he saw the Dawning Shadow, he knew he was safe to full commit for that turret take, and I love that little detail.
Full commit as well. I mean, they're trying to jump onto Hamas. Dawning Shadow comes across, but the Gragas will survive. Flash away keeps him alive. Onion King's going to go down, though. In the process, Tatsuri buys so much time and space with the Ignite going across. Shuriken Flip won't be able to connect. It's the 3-man Shockwave in the mid lane, but they aren't able to take down anyone on Team Secret side.
A very clean take in the mid turret. Here comes a little bit more jungle aggression at the top side from Trevor. they're just taking away all of MBR's jungle, granted. There's no gold to go back into the MBR system. Team Secret are just going to shut them out of the economy here. The gold lead exploding to 10k after both Tatsuri and Trevor yank away entire jungle rotations. And this is just impossible for MBR to turn around.
It's a buffet. The map is a buffet of gold, a buffet of creeps, and Team Secret, you know, they're here in line. They're cutting you every chance that they get. Goes up to the front, says, I want it all. Give me one of everything. MBR Esports, they're nice, they're polite.
That's not how buffets work, granted.
They're taking their time with it. They're not out here rushing. But the question is any food left on the table for MBR by the time Team Secret is done? That might not be the case. Joey's gonna get collapsed on first. Stun comes across, but Hermes will keep his AD carry safe.
You just take the food. That's how that works. You walk down the line and you take the food from the thing.
You don't take more than you can eat, TJ. That's not a nice
Team
etiquette.
Secret are doing that, granted. They're taking all the food out of the buffet trays. And there's nothing left for MBR.
Well, they're feeling bad about that one. Missing out the chance to have a full meal. MBR, look at Elvis. He's had to flash away. He's the
Can't
wing
even
con
get
you're
on his
talking about.
birds. He wanted to grab some chicken from the buffet, Grandin. And guess who stopped him? He reached in with the tongs, and another pair of tongs came in on top. It was Trevor, it was Hamas, just stopping him from getting anything.
And Team Secret looked to rinse and repeat that motion, and while clearing out the jungle, there's very little farming gold for Elvis to find. Dragons coming up, and it's so difficult to contest against the likes of Treble around these neutral objectives.
Did Azar just get those krugs? That's remarkable. MBR continuing to just get zoned out of everything, and whilst they're trying to make a punish here on Azur, they are sacrificing the Drake, the Mountain Drake, currently being taken. We'll see if they can take this turret in response. Azur's got backup coming up from Hamas.
But there's a 2 versus 3, but under turret, there is a chance that Team Secret could try and play this one out. Look towards Elvis, because he hasn't had the chance to use his ultimate a single time, I believe. Or at least not in an impactful way, and that's so devastating to this Pantheon.
Yeah, I mean, there was never a game state where Alves was able to roam between the lanes because the lanes collapsed. Oh, here we go.
Finally uses it, but again, at what cost? Like, what expense? What are you gaining from this ultimate?
I mean, he didn't lose anything from it. They are still trapped behind their tier 2s, but yeah. The big problem is there was never a moment where Team Secret were just playing fair lanes and Alves was up. Because if you remember that very early gank from Team Secret, that pretty much ended the game. Because MBR have no ability to fight those early Dragon team fights if they don't have a pretty massive lead earned. So what Team Secret absolutely had to do was get onto the map early, shut down the lanes in the first couple of minutes. They did that. Alves couldn't provide any value as jungler, and now they're running a late game team, and their team is never going to leave the early game.
The lightweight hitters against Team Secret looking to bulk up. I mean, they're welterweight now. Just watch until they get the heavyweight, and it's painful. Elvis, he's only got that Steris gauge. There's not much available for him. He's not really a tank, but he's also not really high in damage. It's a really awkward spot for MBR Esports to be in. Baron gonna come up soon, and so Team Secret could look to try and play around that. It's a little bit slow for them to pick up the Baron, but they still have this Nunu. It's easy to secure.
Yeah, and this is potentially where things can go wrong. I don't foresee this, but I'm handing out doses of copium for anyone in the chat who would like them. The way to kind of turn this around for MBR is if Team Secret don't do anything for the next 10 minutes, if they really struggle to convert on these Barons, if they go for the Drake instead and it takes a while, that's how you get back into this game. Because MBR do have a pretty scary late game composition. I just don't think they can get, I don't think they can activate them. You know, they're season ticket holders and they're busy all season. You know how that is, Grandin?
I actually do not catch that reference, but I will take it. If you're giving
when you buy the season pass to the ballpark or something.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I'll go see the game this weekend, but you're busy. You're on your yacht hanging out with your friends. You can't go to the ballpark.
I'm not a cool kid like you, TJ. I don't have a yacht. MBR Esports,
You
I don't
know,
think they
I'm
can afford
always
one either.
missing appointments because I'm on my yacht, so.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't think MBR Esports is able to afford one either. They're running pretty low on gold. Here's the engage coming through from Team Secret. They find the first Elvis has fallen. There's a 2-man shockwave, pulls them towards the turret. But King falling to Chewy over the back. Azar has taken down Iron Leo, and there's not much left for MBR Esports to get done. One by one, they're gonna fall. It's the knockout blow coming in from the welterweights who are bulking up even more.
Yeah, see, I mean, it's a good analogy that you're using. Team Secret are punching above their weight class in terms of team composition right now. A lot of the characters on this team normally spike around the mid game, and they're punching like they're in the late game right now because MBR are just so underfunded. There's almost a 15,000 gold difference between these teams at this point, and that's just unrecoverable, frankly. So it's time to start thinking about the next game. It's time to start thinking about what went wrong for MBR in the drafting phase. I think Team Secret really masterfully played them with regards to the draft, and I would point to a big part of that being the Nunu takeaway, as MBR don't have enough tank kind of as a result. They draft the rest of their team on the presumption that they're going to have a tank in the jungle, and then they end up with a Pantheon.
Well, this is what happens when you fail to think about your late game goal, TJ. And so if you have to... Oh, you want to finish this one for me?
No, what?
No? Alright, well that's fine. If you
I'm
can't figure out your goal for
Grandin.
yourself...
What?
If you can't figure out your goal for yourself for this late game, leave it to the people that do. Leave it to Franklin Templeton. Let's see Team Secret try to close this one out here. Now with the Baron buff in play, wearing purple, MBR Esports need to back off, respect this team, collapsing in from 3 lanes.
Because they manage their financial future.
Exactly.
I got you.
Well, MBR Esports, they're trying to manage their own futures in different ways. They're putting it on Onion King, but he won't be the dividends they need. They're gonna go down. Renekton is dead. The mid lane tower broken. Open. First in hit gone. Second one falls in the Baron lane. They're trying to take down Tatsuri, unable to lock him down. This star mid lane player coming in clutch for his team. 17-1. Team Secret knocking on the base onto MBR Esports with the final stand coming across. The Dawning Shadow will be the one to initiate, but losing HP quickly, unable to take down anyone. Too lightweight, no damage. Team Secret will get game number 1.
What a performance. Team Secret